Alright, so today I got it's a new grader attachment for the skid steer. It's a command. These are at an angle, and this front one's serrated. It's got these little bumps on it. But when I need to take this somewhere, I need all three of these. I need the bucket and the roller. And there's really no good way of tying this down, you know, because you hook into the pin or whatever, and I usually go over the top of this and then hook it down into there. Actually, it's up here and the bucket's up front, and I tie it down differently, but this don't fit on here very good. It's wider than a trailer, so it fits in between there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make me probably some 3-inch, 1/4-inch angle iron, make me a platform for this bucket to sit on top of this. And I'll weld me like a D-ring or something, or a weld-on hook right here, and I'll use that to chain it straight down to the rubber rail. The only thing I'm worried about at this point is whether I can reach far enough, because the back of the bucket's here to here looks like about 8, maybe 10 inches. So I'm afraid is whether I'll be able to reach over top of this and still be able to drop the bucket without the track sitting right here. It should. Time will tell. And like I say, I ordered it like 2 months ago, and I just got it last week, and it was real muddy here at the house, and I did like 3 little passes. I don't know if you can see it or not, but just kind of playing with it and testing it out. Seems to rough it up and smooth it up pretty good. It'll take some getting used to an adjustment. You can't push it all the way down to ride on the rub blocks, or the, I don't know what you call them, push blocks or whatever, on the front of that skid steer. So it kind of floats, which is kind of, you know, a little bit weird. So it's going to take some getting used to. And right now the cutting edges are flush with the bottom of the grater blade, so there's some adjustment on that. I'm pretty sure it's slotted, maybe not. I thought you could raise it up and down, and then I'm not real sure why they put these on here. They're adjustable too, and I'm thinking it's to make it where you can put an angle on it, you know, offset it, but then you'd still be pushing down, so the adjustment should be on the bottom. So that's kind of weird, because all the stuff's standard on the skid steer attachments. But I know I should be able, if I can't, on the bottom, that cutting edge, I'll slot me some holes where I can put the right side down about 1 inch, 1.5 inches lower than the left side, and then when you grade a road, you start on the right side of the road and go up, turn around and come down the other side, and it'll recrown it as you grade it. So hopefully we'll get it in the shop maybe today. We'll go do a small job and get that bucket where I can sit on there and tie it all down, haul it over the country. So we'll see what happens. So I got it here in the shop, kind of measured it and laid it out. I think I'm just going to cut some 3-inch angle iron and make me a frame, one going across and one that way, and then the back of the bucket will just ride against this, and that should hold it in place. I got some 3-inch angle. It's off of some kind of old rack my dad dug in a couple of years ago, probably. I was cut on it as I need it instead of going buying new metal. So this will be the long one, and that one over there, it's bent. It's got 2 long enough straight pieces, so I'll whittle those off. So I'll set the camera up and get the torch out and get to work. So I got these cut off of here, and I'm just going to clean all this up, wash all that off, get the measurements, lay them out, and I'm going to 45 them. That piece that's bent, I only need like a 36 or 8, so the part that's bent's going to come out. So I'll probably set this up on a time lapse. It'll take a little while to wash all this off, clean it up, get it ready. So of course I answered a phone call, and then apparently I didn't push the button hard enough on the time lapse and missed most of it, but I just got it tacked and laid it on here. I think it's like 41 inches from the tip of that cutting edge to the back of these brackets right here. So I think what I'll do before I go any farther is I'll try to set the bucket up on there, try not to knock it off the frame before I tack it all down, then weld it up, clean all the paint off and tack it. So we'll get the machine in here and see if we can set it on there. Alright, so I got it on here. It's maybe a 1/4 inch. It's probably hitting right on that rolled edge of that angle iron. And it's maybe 1.5 inches. Oop. The camera's messing up. 1.5 inches. But the problem is you got this that sticks out past that. This is 3/8 of an inch thick, and then the bucket itself is back underneath this. So we're coming up short. It's, when I first put it on there, it actually fell through the crack. So I'm either gonna, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these tacks loose. Instead of having it at a 90, I'm gonna take it to about a, I don't know, 80 something and burn at least 1 inch, because rolling down the road, if it moves over this way, if that front corner comes back at all, it's gonna fall down. And I'm afraid if I get a new cutting edge, it's a different brand, or they make it just a little bit longer, it won't actually fit down this tray. Or if I buy like a new bucket, it might not fit. So I think that's gonna be the easiest way. Instead of cutting a 1/2 inch off this and scooting it over, I think I'm just gonna fudge the 90, and that way it gets shorter over here. You know what I mean? You could weld your tab or something in there, but 3 inch won't fit underneath that bar. And I don't want it right up against these bolts, because when you hook it and try to flip it, I think it's going to rub on that front rail. So I'm going to give it plenty of room to move around, so it's easier to hook and unhook. Because when I first started putting it on there, I didn't think it was going to fit. I thought I messed up. It looks that like it was wider, but it fits. So I'm going to pull the bucket back off and shrink that back corner probably 1.5 inches. And go from there and lay it back on here and tag it. So I got it on there. Just put me a couple little stitches on the front and the back. Ended up bowing, here's all slick back, inch on each side, 2 inches overall, narrower on the back side. And I mean, 90% of the time it probably would have been fine, but you know, going down the road, the vibration and everything always goes towards the bar ditch side because of the slope of the road. So it would have eventually fell down in there, and then your boomer would have been loose and blah blah blah. So I don't have to worry about it now. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll stitch weld these on up on the seam. Put me little 1-inch stitches every, I don't know, 6-8 inches. And then I'm gonna buy some, I was gonna do D-rings, but when I'm running the machine, they're just gonna sit there and bang and or drive me nuts. So I'll go tomorrow and get some those weld-on hooks. That way I can just, you know, throw my chain right over it and put the boomer right into the stay pocket maybe, I don't know. Before I do that, I might put it on the trailer because the outside of this box blade actually sticks over the rub rail. So it's gonna be kind of a pain to tie down, but I'll figure out something. So I'll go ahead and weld these on up. And today, when I was doing a finish grade today, this bucket actually fell off of the skid steer, and it's kind of bent, but it's got a lot of wear on this side. But with the locks all the way down, it literally come off the machine. So I need to probably find some 1/8 inch, 1-inch flat strap and weld me some shims under there, and that'll fix that problem. But I'll stitch this on down and maybe put some paint on it tonight. How big the gap is. I can stick my pinky up in there. That's about 5/16, maybe 3/8. It's kind of hard to hold the flashlight and the camera. See that or not? So I think I'll just shim it from the top. I'm gonna set it on my table here and mess with it tomorrow. It's already getting late. It's time change. It gets dark at 5:30, start getting tired real fast. But I got it stitched down on there. Inside's, you know, welded. So tomorrow I'll wire wheel it off, put some yellow cat paint on it. Maybe it'll slightly match, and then work on this bucket and get ready. I got some jobs coming up and I need that. I ordered that thing like 2 months ago, and everything, as everybody knows, is, you know, hard to find. So it finally came in, but I got some like a half-mile driveway I got to recap, put some asphalt millings on it. So got here just in time. So we'll put the bucket down and come back out here in the morning. So I've been looking at this bucket, and some of it is kind of worn and bent, but there's a huge, not real huge, but there's a big dip right here and right here. So it's allowing that to go more forward and up, which is creating some of the gap at the bottom. And then there's a real big lip right here. So I'm gonna unhook the battery on this. I'm gonna run a bead, fill in this hole, and then buff it off on both sides. And then put it back on there and see how much of that slack it takes up to make it a little bit tighter. Go from there. So I'm gonna weld that up a little bit. It's gonna be kind of tricky not to get it too much. But I ended up putting 4 passes on top of this. So we'll weld that out and see if we can tighten it up. So I welded it up. It's kind of hard to hold it. This one, whoop. The heat on that edge, it tried to roll over, but it's not all the way down because the way the angle of it is. But here's the bottom of these pins there. So I'm gonna weld this. That's probably at least 1/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna weld that up and buff it off, and the bucket should be tight again. So instead of just welding those pins up, I'm gonna go ahead and take it apart, pull the pins out, because I've been having a lot of problems with it locking and unlocking. Not like one of them will get hung up and then you got to beat on it with a grading rod or a hammer or some extension. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it apart and see if I just need to, if the sleeves are got real bad wear on them, like a groove, and that's what's hanging them up from going up and down. I might have to buy new pins. But I want to pull them out and inspect them and go ahead and weld them up if I can. Sometimes the agony defeat will get you. I raised that bucket up to get them pins out, and I shouldn't have. The ram was hanging, and when I put the mast back down, it whoop. Awesome. I just bought that not too long ago. So I got a spare one over there. Turns out the pins was messed up, so I'll take that little motor apart and see if I can tie them wires back together. But these pins, don't know. Maybe 1/8 of an inch, so I'll weld that up and grind them down, put them on a bench grinder or something and get them pretty straight. And then deal with that motor and try to get it all back together today. So these turned out really good. They're nice and flat. You can see where it started and stopped. So that ought to fix that. So now I'm gonna see if I can take this apart. See if I can take that apart and fix it. One of them things that happens when you're working on something. Happens to everybody. Most people don't admit it, but there ain't no sense in getting mad about it. Just fix it. Good, get mad about it anyways. crash and burn over? Probably the one thing I don't like about this skid steer. Better take a break over. Ooh. Ooh boy. Let me take this to the table. So I took the wire off the machine. Looks like there's still a little bit left. I gotta get out of here. This little soldering gun works good. Haven't used it in a long time. Perfect. Might get lucky for once. Maybe. Got some flux. It's actually for plumbing, but sweet. Good as new. truth. Don't look right for some reason. Oh man. Oh, I see some sparks. That's not good. What's the deal here? Sparks are never good. Oh, it'd be sparking. Huh. Oh, forgot one bolt. Got one screw in the end. I don't know what that does, but I'll raise it up, put it in there. All right, round two. Oh yeah. Some of that solder on the inside's touching somewhere, but I know what's going on with that. It shouldn't be touching that. I got it on upside down, so I'll pull the pins out and flip it upside down. I don't know really what that's, because it's still grounded. I'll flip it around. So it looks like I got it clocked wrong. Pretty sure this wire is supposed to be down around here on the bottom, because I got another one. I went and looked at it. So I guess I'll take it back off, take it apart, flip it, and put it back on there, because it's got to have, you think it only go one way, wouldn't matter, but apparently it does. So that's kind of the sucky thing about working on stuff sometimes. So I'll pull it back apart. I'm not going to record none of that, and then I'll leave off where I'm at now. So I'm out here this morning. Last night was time to eat, and after I went in and ate, I was like, I'll just mess with it tomorrow. But I'm pretty sure what the deal is these brushes on the back side. In order for me to get it back over that spindle, I took one of the leads and wrapped it around the back side to get it all back together, and I didn't unloop it, and I'm pretty sure it's grounding out. So I'll go ahead and take it all back apart and put it on the bench and see if that's what it was and go from there. All right, let's see what it is.
Where you gotta be? You're missing a finger and you're bleeding out, and you're like, hell with that. I got a question to go.
It wasn't that.
I gotta get back to work quick, unless you're going to another emergency room. I would say I'd just go ahead and wait it out.
Something broke.
His wife is texting and wanting to know what time he's gonna be.
Damn it.
Where are you? Well, let me just
Brush is broke.
So we got some stuff that we gotta deal with, because we got these tickets to get away that Jimmy Clark put up in a minute. But coming up next hour, I will see your detached.
Well, that sucks.
Finally left the emergency room isolated and raise you a man bitten in the scrotum by a poisonous cobra. And I'll tell you the details of that.
All that to break the brushes. All right, so on this one, the old actuator, I took it apart, and what was wrong with this one is the shaft was broke, and it wasn't pushing that ram in and out. So instead of taking this motor apart, pulling the backside off and putting it on this body, I'm just gonna put this on that ram and keep it together. And if it's weak or it quits, I'll put this one back together and put it on the shelf. And then I'm sure I can just order some brushes or something. Go to the starter alternator shop, try to match it up with something else. But I'll put it back together and see if it works. I'm gonna actually plug it into the machine and spin it, make sure it works before I go that far. But put it back together and we'll start it up after that. So this is why I wanted to put this bucket on top, because on some of these long driveways, like I'll have to pile the asphalt and stuff up, and so you'll need that bucket to spread it out to get it roughed in, and then go over it with it and smooth it out with this, and then after that's all done, roll it with the roller. But there wasn't enough room to put the bucket behind that and then tie it all down, because the skid steer is too far back. You know, it's the last D-ring or stay pocket right there. And this trailer, when I originally had it, it only had 3 D-rings. I cut all that off and put that rub rail on there. So I'll use these chains that I made for my excavator, and they're only like 3 foot long. I went and bought me some weld-on hooks. I'm just gonna put one on each side. Use that short chain, put the boomer on that rubber rail, and be good to go. So I'll get it unloaded, get it back in the shop, weld that up, and then be back on the road again. Alright, got it welded on there. I didn't put no big honking beads on there, just some little ones. I could have just put a piece of rebar or cold roll or something on there just to hold the hook. Just welded it like that just so the hook wouldn't slide down. But there's been a lot of times pulling posts and stuff, it'd be a lot easier if I had a hook on the side of it, so I just figured it'd be better that way. So we got it all together. We'll hopefully do a driveway, get to use a new attachment. Maybe let you know how I like it. One thing I don't like about it already is this plate is way too tall. So when you're got it on the machine and you put it down, the top of that bar to the door is up about 4 to 6 inches. So if you just have to get out to move something, you can power it down and climb in and out, but if you let it sit probably more than 20 minutes, it'll bleed off and then you won't be able to get the door open. So you have to unhook from it to leave it. That's one thing I don't like about it so far, but we'll get to using it, see how much we like it. So see you on the next video.